proper care of them is not as easy as one would think. So you're all familiar with this tool. Comes with about every knife block. Fun thing about it is that it does, despite popular belief, it does not actually sharpen the knife. It hones it, meaning that during use, the blade of the knife slightly curves and dulls the blade. So whenever you're going to sharpen the blade, first you want to go along this, take this and let the blade go along it about 5-6 times to hone it back into place. But that's when you take out your whetstone. This is my mom's. She has a water whetstone, and depending on the whetstone, depends on what type of lubricant you use. So water whetstones use water, while other whetstones use mineral oil. Fun thing about that is you have to be careful of what oil you use, otherwise you risk getting your whetstone to rot from the inside out. So you want food grade mineral oil and not lubricant mineral oil or corn oil. So usually when you sharpen your knife with a whetstone, you want to go lowest grade first, then go up higher the grade. And you want to sharpen it at an 11-degree angle. This will give you a nice sharp edge, but also the wear and tear on it will be lots slower. And just go along it from tip to end on the long sides, like so. And just for quick tip, good tell on how to get an 11-degree angle is you want to put your pinky underneath the face of the blade and just have it run along like so. And that's it. So for care of the knife, you want to make sure they are nice and sharp, because if they are dull, that is much more dangerous than a sharp blade. What was that?
It's air conditioning.
Right, yeah. So for types of knife, this is a bread knife. You can tell from its serrated edge. Very nice to cut hard breads, but also very useful for cutting tomatoes. This is a carving knife used to cut meat such as ham, turkey, roast beef, any type of deli meat that you have. This one is a boning knife, helpful to get around all the different bones and in between them to get all your, and process all the meats from the carcasses you're doing. You can tell because it's very thin, nimble, and very bendable. And we have our little paring knife. This, although not used all that much, is used to do all the fine details, all the stuff that you think, oh, this looks like a bit too big of a blade, such as cutting avocado or cutting apples, you name it, all the fine little details. And finally, we have our chef's knife, otherwise known as the butcher's knife. Now, fun fact, the butcher's knife and a chef's knife are a little bit different. So a butcher's knife looks more like a club than an actual knife, and butchers use them to just go slam and cut open the meat and break bone. Typically not advised to, but it is. Now for holding the knife, you want to hold it in a pinching manner with your thumb on this side and your index finger on this. This will give you a lot more control of the blade, so that you have precise movement and it's not just wandering around everywhere, risking your fingers. Now, with this hand, otherwise known as your lazy hand, you want to make sure that your hand is like this in a kung fu grip. That way when you cut with your knife, it's going right along it instead of with your fingers underneath it. Fun fact, I almost cut my finger off with my bread knife, which that's fun. I was bleeding like a Clapton. So, fun little thing to do when you're actually practicing your knife skills is to use flour. This will not only give you something to cut, but it's not produce, which will well, yes, cut, but it will show your mistakes, and it doesn't cost money like a normal potato. So you just put it on a cutting board, lay it out flat like so, and you just go at it and practice your knife skills. And see, it'll just show all your cuts. And also all your mistakes. Flour is a very telling substance. But for basic cuts, you have julienne, bâtonnet, fine julienne, brunoise, fine brunoise, your small dice, your medium dice, and your large dice. Your julienne is about 1/8 of an inch, a bâtonnet is 1/4 of an inch, and a fine julienne is 1/16 of an inch, and so on, different sizes. So a julienne is about a 1/8 of an inch stick that is 2 inches long. Give me a second. Looks kind of like that. While a fine julienne is about half the size of those sticks, and bâtonnet, a bit bigger than those sticks, twice the size of those sticks, I would say, but you get my point. Anyways, another cut we have is chiffonade. If you don't recognize the name, it's basically, that old trick where you roll up your leaves of your lettuce, cabbage, or even just basil, and just roll it up like a little tube and just have at it and make it into small little strings like so. That is a chiffonade.
Oh, I can smell the basil.
Now, some other ways to cut is a back and forth motion, and there's also the chopping, which is useful for cutting, parsley and cilantro and your other herbs that you want into a nice fine dice. Also, as well as rosemary. Chives, which you want those nice pretty cylinders. A good one would be just the back and forth motion. And some fun decorative cuts. Sorry. So, fun cuts would be like on celery to go at a slant, like so. That way you have nice, lot of face to it, so that way in whatever you're cooking, it gives a lot of flavor, lots of tasteful nutrients. And fun fact about an onion, if you cry a lot with onion, like any normal person, a fun way to actually cut an onion and get the small pieces without having to cry while you're doing it, is the lines on the onion. All you have to do is just cut it in half and just follow along the lines like so, and you'll get nice, even cuts. I know it doesn't look pretty the way I'm doing it, but it works. It works very well. You can do it quickly, fast, slow, and you won't cry as much. Sorry. A fun cut to do with oranges is, those twists that you see in all those fancy cocktails? So what you can do is you take your orange, and a peeler, and just go along it, get some nice long peel or zest, and you have nice big piece. To make it much more nice, you just cut off the sides like so, and then you twist it, and then you got nice little pretty twists that you can decorate your cocktails, your cakes, really anything. A fun little way to actually
Mocktails.
Yeah.
when using the orange peel for decorations, you want to take the little peel and just squeeze it on top of your thing because the peels will actually release juices in a fine little mist that gives it just a hint of orange. And you just squeeze and then twist and you got pretty little decoration.
Oh, that smells good.
Another way of doing oranges. So have you ever been to a restaurant and they serve you these little tiny lemon slices? Just like this? Well, with at least of what my teacher had taught me at culinary school, the proper way of doing it is to get rid of that little nasty white stuff that's in the middle, get rid of the ends, and then put a slice right down the middle. Would anyone like to guess why that's so?
Sits on the rim of the glass?
No, actually. Well, yes.
Yes.
But it's so that when you squeeze it, it
Goes right in the middle.
Yep. And you don't have juice spraying everywhere.
Which is what always goes in my eye.
Yeah. But yeah, those are some little tricks. But yeah, any questions?
That's awesome.
Okay. Did I miss anything?
Just cover your herbs really quick.
Right, so if anybody didn't know this, I'm a bit of a plant freak. I love to garden and I love to grow anything that I can get my hands on. So this right here, this is sweet basil, and right over here is its brother, Thai basil. They might both be basils, but they couldn't be any different. Sweet basil has that classic, delicious, sweet basil smell, while Thai basil, it does taste like basil, but it tastes more like star anise and clove. Anyone want to
So
smell?
just pass your bags around once you tell what they are. Just pass them around and people can smell them.
All right.
Yeah, so how do you use the Thai basil?
So this is not mine and Mom's preferred basil. We much prefer the sweet basil, but Mom usually uses it to cook steak or smoke in our smoker.
I'm about to drink. Smoking cocktails at Melanie's. Apparently I have a word of wisdom problem.
This is lemon thyme. We much prefer this to normal thyme because it gives a sweet lemony smell and a much brighter taste to it. These are chives. Very related to onions, so if you ever want to plant them in your garden, it'll help keep bugs and rats away because they don't like the smell of onions and garlic. It also grows very big and bushy, like grass pines.
Yeah.
Chives, yeah. This is oregano. Me and Mom prefer to grow, if I remember correctly, Greek oregano.
Yeah.
Has a very bright color, small leaves, but grows very big and bushy if you let it.
And you can grow all this in ridge press?
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
It would be preferred if you.
Yeah, I can't either.
It would be preferred if you use it, grow it underneath of shade because I mean, what grows in direct sunlight here, except death.
Well,
And this right here is rosemary.
that does grow in direct sunlight.
Yeah. So
That's the only
Yeah.
thing that survives in my yard. Yeah.
we have two different cuts here. This branch was grown on old growth of our rosemary bush, while this one is new growth. Now, who would guess that which one would be better for cooking and taste, old or new?
Depends on what you're doing with it.
Well, old growth, it would taste very bitter and woody because it's old and has gotten a lot more woody to it. It also dries and cooks very woody. While the new growth, it's very tender, very fragrant, and very soft to the touch. If you rub it along your fingers, you can actually get a lot stronger smell from it.
So is there a time when the older kind would be preferred or not?
So I like to use my older stuff on when I'm doing steaks, but you take it from the top down. Can you hold this for a second? You take it from the top down and pull backwards, and that will pull off all your sprigs, whether it's the new or the old,
Yep.
like what she's done right there.
Just like
And it will strip it off. But I can chop it up really fine and do that to go season my steaks. It works really good when she's making her rosemary lemon custard cakes. I prefer that in the older than that.
So,
I have a rough life with my own personal chef.
So, if any of you'd like any of these herbs afterwards, you're welcome to them. We brought plenty of basil, oregano, and
Rosemary.
rosemary. So, I'm happy to provide, and yeah, I believe that is all.
Good.